Great developers are in love with the games that they make. You get the feeling that they're trying to make games that people enjoy playing first, not just because they're doing it for the money. There are thousands of game developers around the world, some big and some small, but they're not created equally. For-profit development companies have a hard job to deliver us the best game they can make, while appeasing both their shareholders and usually the publisher that is overseeing them and funding them. Some developers can be labeled as truly great, and today I want to discuss the 3 common traits of developers we call the best of the best. One of the biggest traits great developers embrace is a sense of risk. I often look at Naughty Dog as one of the best game developers out there. They produce amazing games that always seem to test the boundaries of conventional video game design. The Last of Us, holy crap dude, this game is borderline perfection in my book, a game that could have easily been Naughty Dog's Uncharted 4, but instead they chose to cast Nathan Drake aside for a few years and tell a completely new story. What's even more bold is that the company chose to develop The Last of Us at the very end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, knowing full well that would-be consumers were saving their money for the next console. A brand new IP focused on story and character and emotion, a risk that Naughty Dog was willing to take. Neil Druckmann from Naughty Dog has been quoted as saying, "You have no idea how difficult it is to make a new IP. It's like you're starting from scratch." That is such a basic idea, yet so true. Starting from ground zero is exciting in theory, but the prospect of what you have to do to get from there to the finish line is an immense amount of work. Companies like Naughty Dog embrace that risk because they see it as opportunity for growth, not being afraid to fail as they are confident in their vision. And that's a sign of a great developer.
New IPs are really hard. They're hard because you don't know what's fun yet.
Many companies don't take risks, and we see the aftermath all the time. EA and Ubisoft, while they should be applauded for their commitment to their franchises, have also run Call of Duty, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed into the ground, current versions void of any personality these days. The sequel plague is a cancer that has spread throughout the industry like a disease, although for very rational reasons. They are easy to make, and they have a lot more consistent payoff. But after the 3rd or 4th game in the same formula, people do start to backlash and diminishing returns kick in, as we saw with the latest 2 installments of COD, Far Cry Primal, and Assassin's Creed Unity. StarCraft 2 was also another big controversy due to a lack of risk by Blizzard. While it was a very competent game, some felt like it was staler than a loaf of day-old crusty bread. Whether it was a good game or not, StarCraft 2 barely innovated and took very little risk, and it turned off a huge amount of players as a result. The mechanics and the combat felt very samey, many units were recycled, and hell, Blizzard didn't even introduce a new playable race for veterans of the series. But the worst part was, Blizzard had huge plans for an esports scene. They spent millions of dollars promoting it, and it barely yields any viewership compared to other popular esports games. All a symptom of a lack of risk-taking. But taking risks is not something every company is willing to do. While the payoffs can be huge, the end result is unknown and potentially financially disastrous. Most developers don't fund their own games after all, they borrow money from crowdfunding or publishers. And those companies that do internally fund their own games, the risk is even greater, and often it's a danger they dare not play with. CD Projekt Red, they've got to be up there with one of the most passionate gaming companies. The Witcher is one of the most beloved franchises out there, its Blood and Wine expansion pack for The Witcher 3 being the 5th highest rated game on Steam, not to mention the expansion pack for The Witcher 3 base game being the highest rated product on Steam. Everything built into the Witcher franchise had a purpose, to tell you a story, to take you by the hand and show you a world that was created for you, as seen through the eyes and dreams of the developers. If a developer can make me feel as strongly and passionately about a game as they do, then that's one hell of an accomplishment. And they did that with The Witcher and its sequel and the 3rd. You can tell how passionate they are when they speak about the game too. Now, pursuing perfection, it's never possible, but it's a side effect of passionate game development. Just take a moment to listen to Naughty Dog talk about their games, and you tell me if these guys aren't the most passionate game developers out there.
As an artist, you're never really happy with your work. You could be given like 100 years to work on something, you'll still find things to nitpick and things to fix.
Yeah, you can work on the game for 10 years and you'll still be crunching at the end. So it's like, okay.
All of a sudden, it's like getting ready one morning in the shower, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm about to ship another title, and this is going to be a really good title, and it gets you excited, and you're like, all right.
Although many other traits exist out there for great developers, ethics and managing consumer expectations has to be one of the most important. I think we can all recall very fondly the tale of No Man's Sky. Good old Sean Murray and Hello Games Studio. They're the hallmark picture of dishonesty. Their studio, rotten with the stench of trickery and deception. I don't know what planet these guys live on, but how the hell did they believe that they would get away with hyping a game to the moon and back, and then lie about it straight to the media's faces? Maybe they didn't care. Some developers don't. It's called cash grabbing, and they sure pulled one hell of a bait and switch on the trusting gamer. Now let's talk about From Software. Are they an ethical developer? I enjoy the Soul series just as much as the next guy, trust me, but the visual downgrade that accompanied the launch of Dark Souls 2 was basically fraud, right? This is to say nothing of the disturbing Watch Dogs downgrade that was so carefully covered up until it was too late. All the while, the promotional material presented a different game entirely. And who could forget our good buddy Capcom when they were busted for hiding DLC on the day one disc of Street Fighter Cross Tekken? How could they not be viewed as just scumbags? Another unethical trend that has been slithering around the gaming industry like a poisonous snake is day one DLC, season pass material that is ripped from the base game and repackaged for future sale, and microtransactions in single-player games, altering the way that the game is designed. And we saw the latter with Dead Space 3, a game that many people were craving. In the end, it came gooseballed in an awful pay-to-win weapon progression system that ruined the fun players could have with the crafting system. Thank you for turning my Dead Space game into a grindathon. I think great developers are realistic in the expectations that they set out to do, and are modest and truthful when delivering information to the public. They let the game just speak for itself, and they don't impregnate them with unnecessary money grab systems because really, it's just the right thing to do. Now, of course, there's a lot more qualities that make great game developers. I've only scratched the surface, so drop a comment and tell me about your favorite developers and why. Would love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back on Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific with the next video per my schedule I post every week on Twitter. It's going to be a pretty epic one. And if you enjoyed the video, by all means hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here for more of our future content. Have yourself a kick-ass day, guys.